I'm reading a really interesting book right now by Kendra Hall called Choose Your Story, Change Your Life. It's about the stories we tell ourselves and how, for better or for worse, they can become our reality. Listening to this reminded me of how important it is to start talking to our kids early about sleep. I generally recommend that you start talking to your child and telling them that they're a great sleeper, assuming that they are, as early as 18 months. Our kids pick up on so much of what we say. So you want to start laying that foundation early for your child to start thinking of themselves as someone who sleeps well. This does not mean that your child will never resist going to bed or that they'll never push back on sleep. But what it will mean is that they generally don't think of sleep as a bad thing, and maybe they even think of it as a good thing. At a minimum, as they get older, they will understand that sleep is important for their health. Today, I'm going to share some language that you can use to start helping your child think of themselves as someone who sleeps well, or as I like to call them, as someone who's a sleep champion. But first, I wanted to invite a very special guest on to share her thoughts on sleep. My 7-year-old daughter, Ainsley, is currently home with COVID, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to ask her some questions about sleep. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of two. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. Ainsley, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. I'm excited.
So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about sleep. Do we talk about sleep a lot in this house?
Yes, we do.
Does mommy love sleep?
Yes.
Do you think I spend a lot of time working on my own sleep to try to be a sleep champion?
Yes.
And what happens to me when I don't get enough sleep? How do I behave?
You're grumpy.
And do I usually say, oh gosh, I'm grumpy because I didn't get enough sleep?
Yes.
And then when I know I haven't gotten enough sleep, what do I tell you I have to do that night?
Go to bed early.
Yeah, I love going to bed early, don't I? And do you think of yourself as someone who's good at sleeping?
Yes.
Yes. Have you always been good at sleeping?
Yeah.
Do you know when you started to sleep through the night? Do you remember? I think I've told you before how old you were.
2?
No, way earlier. That was Addison. Addison started to
Oh.
sleep through the night when she was 2.
3 months.
Close. You were 8 weeks old
Oh.
when you started to sleep through the night. So you've been a good sleeper for a really long time. Can you tell me why sleep is important?
Because it helps your body regulate
Yes.
and your body needs sleep to live.
Yeah.
It helps you fight germs when you're sick.
Yeah. What's your body fighting right now?
COVID.
Yep.
And it helps you remember what you learned at school.
Yeah. Those are all good things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what happens to you personally when you don't get enough sleep? Like, how do you behave that lets me know as your mommy that you're tired?
I just get very tired and I say I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I get angry. And sometimes I even punch my sister when I'm mad at her.
Yes. So I always know when my sweet little reserved Ainsley starts to hit that we got a situation. It's time to get more sleep, right? And what's the answer when you're tired? What do we do for you?
We go to bed earlier.
Yeah, we go to bed earlier. And do you ever ask me when we're sitting at the dinner table to leave dinner early to take you to bed?
Yes, I do.
And how do you feel? What makes you know that that's a good idea?
my eyes kind of hurt because
Mhm.
they need a break, I guess. I don't know. I'm just ready to go to bed.
Yeah, you can just tell, huh?
Yeah, I'm ready to feel my comfortable bed.
Nice.
And there's nothing wrong with leaving the dinner table early to go to bed.
That's right. Yeah, so whenever you tell me, we just get up and call it a day, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell everyone what your bedtime routine is? What do we do when we go upstairs?
We brush our teeth. Sometimes we take a bath before dinner. Sometimes we take a bath after.
Yep.
Or sometimes we just don't take a bath. And we put our pajamas on. Maybe we already have our pajamas on. And we read a book. And then we turn the lights off and go to bed. And I also get checked on.
Yeah. Do you like getting checked on?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. One last check before you go to bed. I usually come back in about 2 minutes, check on you, and then that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is your room, well, before we go into that, do you know what time you go to bed?
7.
Yep. And then sometimes earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're feeling tired. And is your room dark when you sleep?
Yes.
Do you know why it's important to have your room be dark when you sleep?
So your body doesn't get confused.
Exactly. And do you have a sleep clock?
Yes.
And what does it do? Can you tell people who don't know about a sleep clock what it does?
So of course, it has the time on it. And it has light to show your kid when it's time to get up and when it's not time to get up. Mine is blue for night and yellow for morning.
Yes.
So I know when to get up.
Right. So do you like having that clock?
Yes.
What's the best part about it? What's it help you do?
Know when it's time to get up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's helpful. Do kids at school ever talk about sleep?
No, not really.
No. But Addison said that we'll have her on another day. But she said one day they had a big conversation about sleep in her class. Do you remember her telling us that?
Yeah, I think
Where
so.
they all talked about their bedtimes?
Oh, yeah. And she said she wasn't ashamed of her bedtime because they went to bed at 10 and stuff. She went to bed at 8. She was not ashamed.
She was not ashamed, right? She said she was proud to tell them how much sleep she gets. Yeah, we'll have to have her on one day to talk about that. Do you think, and we don't want to mention any names, but do you think that sometimes how kids behave at school that you can tell if they probably go to bed too late or they don't get enough sleep?
Yes.
So what might kids do at school without saying any names?
They might be a little bit mean to their friend. They might get mad at their friend for no reason. They might even fall asleep at class.
Oh yeah, last year you had a kid fall asleep in class, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And what did he do? Did he put his head down on the desk?
Yeah, because we were trying to scare a teacher to come in, and then when we pretend that we were sleeping, he actually fell asleep.
That's right. You guys were pretending to sleep. And then he really did fall asleep. And then they couldn't even wake him back up, right?
Yeah, and then we had to get the nurse in to help.
Because he was so tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And one last question here. I've really appreciated your time.
Okay.
Is it dark outside right now when you go to bed? So right now it's January.
Mm-hmm.
Is it dark outside when you go to bed?
Yes.
Is it always dark outside when you go to bed, or is it sometimes light out?
In summer it's light out.
And we still go to bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because does the length of the day, whether it's light out longer or shorter, does that change how much sleep your body needs?
No.
No. All right. Do you have anything else that you want to tell the mommies?
No. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks so much for coming. You're the bestest. Love you.
Love you.
How cute was she? So she's 7 years old, and Obviously, she hears me talk about sleep a lot. But one thing I hope that you picked up on is that she talked about going to bed early or even asking to go to bed early as if it were no big deal. She has a great gift of being able to identify when she feels tired. I know it's hard for her to articulate it, but it's pretty impressive. But that took time, and it took me gently pointing out to her when I could see that she was tired. I'll have to have Addison on another day because sleep isn't nearly as easy for her as it is for Ainsley, and she knows it. Addison is prone to early wakings and she's prone to nightmares, which are two struggles that Ainsley has never had to deal with. But while Addison understands that sleep is harder for her, it's not as much of her natural gift. She also understands that it's important and that she needs to go to bed earlier than many of her friends because she wakes up earlier. So we'll save that conversation for another day. But I want to point out that one of the ways I help my kids understand, and they're drastically different, as you'll soon find out when I have Addison on, one of the ways I help them understand and value sleep is by talking about my own sleep. I always tell them that when I need to go to bed early, and I tell them how much I love going to bed and how much I love sleep. And I tell them whether I got a good night of sleep or not. And they know that I have to work at my own sleep. I am not naturally gifted in the sleep department, but I work at it and I track it and I can show them how I track it on my Whoop. But we talk about my sleep a lot. So, as I mentioned in the intro, you can start talking to your child about sleep as early as 18 months, even earlier, but I think 18 months and beyond, it's really important. If your child has had a good night of sleep, I want you to go into their room in the morning and excitedly say to them, "Yay, you got so much great sleep," as you scoop them out of the crib and tell them, "You're such a great sleeper." Say that after every good night of sleep and after every good nap. And over the coming months and years, being a good sleeper will become part of their identity. It will be part of the story that they tell themselves. And if your child is older and you haven't been doing this, don't sweat it. It is never too late to start. We can even start to convince ourselves that we're good sleepers. So just start now. With the preschooler or the early elementary age child, I like the goal to be for everyone in the house to be sleep champions. A sleep champion is someone who goes to bed after being tucked in without a lot of resistance, and they sleep all night until their sleep light wakes up. If your child does that, you want to give them a big hug in the morning and a high five and tell them, "Woohoo, you're a sleep champion." I also want you to tell them whether you were a sleep champion the night before. Did you go to bed too late? Did you sleep all night? Or did you lay awake in the middle of the night worrying about something silly? If you didn't get enough sleep and you accidentally snap at your child the next day, take a moment to apologize and point out that you didn't get enough sleep. You can say something like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that I just snapped at you. I went to bed way too late last night, and then I didn't get enough sleep, so I am grumpy today." You know what that means? It means I definitely need to go to bed early tonight so that I can get more sleep. Then I can be a sleep champion and I will be less grumpy tomorrow. And then when you have a great night of sleep, be pumped about it. Do a happy dance, tell them how stoked you are. You went to bed early, you got some awesome sleep, you're going to have an awesome day. I want you to model the way that you dream of your child feeling about sleep. Model it. Show them what that looks like. And over time, they will follow your lead. One final note on this topic. We got to tell the truth. If your child doesn't currently have good sleep habits, you can't just start telling them that they're a good sleeper or that they're a sleep champion and hope that it's going to fix the issue. You need to use this language when they've actually gotten a good night of sleep. But if you are doing some sleep training with your toddler or your preschooler or doing some sort of reset, incorporate this language in the process. So use it as their sleep improves. Point out that we're working on this so we can all be sleep champions. You can tell them why you're working on their sleep, why sleep is important, the exact same things that Ainsley mentioned. You can tell them those things and then work towards becoming a sleep champion. Once they're sleep champions, continue to use that language going forward. But if your child's already a good sleeper, go ahead and incorporate this language ASAP. I hope that today's chat with Ainsley inspires you to start helping your child identify as someone who sleeps well. If you found this episode helpful, I hope that you'll consider sharing it with a friend or rate and review it on Apple or Spotify. It would mean the world to me. Thanks for listening, and I hope that you'll join me back here again next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.